Whether it's your daily driver, off-road rig, street strip car, or a full-out race car, tire selection is going to play a huge role in the performance of your vehicle. Is there one magical tire that works great in all weather? Is there another magical tire that's going to hook on the street and the track? Before you can pick the right tire for your application, you have to know what all those numbers the manufacturers give you mean. And that's what we're going to discuss in today's Tech Talk. The tire topics we're going to discuss in today's video is going to be the actual tire sizing, speed rating, load index, the 3 T's, which are temperature, traction, and tread wear, along with tire compounds, tire construction, and finally, tread patterns. Now when it comes to tires, all the information you need is going to be on the sidewall of the tire. And we're going to use this NT555 G2 Nitto tire basically to explain what these numbers mean. The first number you're going to see here is 305/30 ZR20 103W. Now what does all that mean? Now typically at the beginning of your tire you're going to have one of 3 letters. You're going to have a P for your passenger car tire, an LT for your light truck tire, and then an ST for your specialty trailer tire. Now this obviously being the size of this, it's obvious it's a passenger car tire, so the P's not there, but most tires will have that. Now following the letter, the next number is 305. That's section width. That's going to be the width of your tire in millimeters. So 305 millimeters works out to about 12-inch wide tire. The next number 30 is your aspect ratio. What that is a percentage. Basically saying the sidewall of this tire is 30% of the width. So as that number goes down, you get a smaller sidewall. As that number goes up, you'll get a larger sidewall. Now in this case, 30% works out to about 3.6 inches, which is exactly what this sidewall is. After the section width, the next letter is going to be ZR. ZR is basically your speed rating. That's the beginning of the speed rating, but what ZR means is that it's a tire capable of over 149 miles an hour, and the R means radial construction. The final number here is 20, and that is the wheel diameter. So this tire is designed to go on a 20-inch wheel. The last thing here, the 103W. 103 is your load index. What that number means, there's a chart, and basically most passenger car tires will be between 70 and 100. This one is on the high side. But basically what that number means is the load rating for the car for the tire. So basically it means this tire, if properly inflated, can hold 1,929 pounds. And there is a load index chart. We're going to show that to you in a second. But basically, there's numbers corresponding to weights. This tire is actually considered to be an extra load because most passenger car tires are not over 100. So this is designed again for a high performance, but it'll hold a lot of weight as well. And then finally, the W. The W is the actual speed rating. Now again, there's a chart for that, but W means this tire is rated up to 168 miles an hour. Now, when it comes to speed rating, you might be asking, why is there a Z in the middle and then another letter at the end? Well, at one point, Z was it. 149 plus, that was the highest performance, highest tested tire out there. But what happened, cars got faster, so they needed more letters. So while Z still means 149 plus, now you have additional designations. Your W for 168 miles an hour, your Y for 186 miles an hour, and then a Y in parentheses, which is your ultimate performance, 186 plus. Okay, so we've discussed tire sizes, we've talked about load indexes and speed ratings. Now we're going to go to the 3 T's. And again, right here on the side of your tire, you have tread wear, traction, and temperature. Now what do these numbers mean? Tread wear is an estimate on the amount of miles you should get out of your tire. Now it's not an exact list, but basically the thought is, your 200 tread wear tire, if you go to a 400, you'll get twice the mileage and so forth. These are rated at 320. Estimated mileage of 320 is in the 60 to 65,000 mile range, but again, we know how some of us use our tires. It may not last that long. The second thing is going to be traction. Now, traction is going to get a letter. It's going to get a double A, an A, a B, or a C. And how it gets that rating is basically the tire is tested on a wet skid pad. Now, it's tested on concrete, and it's also tested on asphalt. And basically it has to record a certain G to reach a certain traction. So basically double A is going to be your best traction tire, which is above 0.54 on asphalt and above 0.38 on concrete. And again, those letters drop down and the traction drops down depending on what the tire is capable of. Then the last T is temperature, and temperature is going to be a letter rating. It's going to be either A, B, or C. What temperature means is how well this tire is going to hold up at temperature as far as heat dissipation and not actually failing due to heat. Your A temperature rating will be over 115 miles an hour. Your B rating is 100 to 115, and then your C is going to be below 100. Now again, most high performance tires are going to be an A rating. A lot of your C ratings will be more of a trailer style tire. And we're looking at tread wear, traction, and temperature. There's a few things you want to consider depending on what your use of the tire is. Now obviously the goal, everybody wants a tire that wears and lasts a long time and has tons of traction. Well, usually it doesn't work that way. Your tread wear numbers are going to go down as traction goes up. Now in general, the softer the tire, the better traction you'll get. This drag radial is going to be a perfect choice here. You know, this tire here will have more traction than this tire will because the compound's a lot softer, and as it gets hotter, it gets even stickier. But because it's a softer compound, it's going to wear a lot faster. Drag radials have a tread wear of 0. Basically meaning they guarantee nothing. They know this is a performance tire. They know what you're going to do with it, so they're not going to guarantee you're going to get any kind of mileage at all. Whereas you go to a harder tire like this, where this is still a soft tire, still a nice performance tire, this will have a decent tread wear, get you reasonable traction, but not as good as something like this, again, because of the compound. The softer tire is always going to provide more traction at loss of tread wear. Okay, so we talked about sizes, we talked about speed rating, load index, the 3 T's. Now let's talk about construction and compounds. And when it comes to tire construction, there's basically 2 different versions. You have your radial tire and you have your bias ply tire. Now bias plies were factory issued tires up through the 1960s until radial technology came around. Now the radial technology basically made a tire that would ride better. It would dissipate heat better, and it became the normal for use. Doesn't mean that bias still doesn't have a lot of value in certain applications. Now the radial tire features steel belts that go directly across the tread. This is basically going to improve your ride quality because you're going to have a much better surface. Your bias ply basically has rubber laid at angles, and instead of having steel belts in it, there's usually nylon or polyester. Now in the performance world, a lot of rock crawlers use the bias ply because you can air them down to like 10 PSI or even less, and they still work because the sidewall's plenty strong. And again, in the drag world, you get a lot more wrinkle out of a drag tire that's biased versus a radial, which again can let the tire do some more work and save your suspension. Now, as far as the compounds that are used, obviously tires are mostly made out of rubber, but it's a mix of natural rubber and synthetic. Your natural rubber is designed for wear and tear, while the synthetic rubber is more going to set up the performance of the tire. Now, obviously there's tons of chemicals, antioxidants, all kinds of other stuff that go into tire construction. I'm not even going to begin to get into all that, but basically the mixture of all these things is what creates the compound. And again, whether it's a harder tire for like a heavy duty truck or a softer tire for performance, it all comes down to the rubbers and chemicals that are used in production of the tire. There's a lot of technology in a tire. It's not just in the fitment, it's not just in the construction. There's tons of technology even in the tread pattern, which we'll get to next. You have basically 3 different styles of tread patterning, ignoring stuff like our slick here, which obviously has no tread pattern, but you've got your symmetrical, your asymmetrical, and your directional. Now symmetrical basically means that the tread is the same inside and outside on the tire. Now, the benefit of a symmetrical tire, ride quality is excellent, and you can rotate these, not only side to side, but also front to back. Basically means you can get a lot more life out of these tires. Now your asymmetrical tire shown here means basically the tread's going to be completely different from side to side. These are going to have a specific mount as far as inner and outer and where they got to go, but these are designed more for performance use. Your asymmetrical tire will still have excellent ride quality, but also improve performance characteristics over your symmetrical tire. And finally, you have your directional tire. Now the directional tire will be much better getting rid of hydroplaning, excellent ride quality, high performance. These also can be rotated, but just front to back. These actually cannot be done side to side because again, they're directional. But as you can see with a directional pattern, again, it'll get rid of shedding water, but also provide excellent traction in many different weather conditions. Now, as you can see, there's a lot more to tire selection than simply picking the cheapest tire that fits your wheel. And notice we did not get into fitment. And the reason for that is fitment is very vehicle specific. Depends on the wheels, depends on ride height, depends on application. There's a general rule of thumb that I go by with fitment: don't go more than 20% wider than the wheel. So if you have a 10-inch wheel, 12-inch wide tire is about as wide as you want to go. Now again, there's exceptions to all these rules, but you can use that as a rule of thumb. But definitely with today's tire technology, no matter what your application is, the perfect tire for your vehicle is out there.